Good evening, dear teacher and classmates. We are the group number 1 and we are going to talk about why English, the cultural foundation. In 1765, John Wallis wrote the Grammar of English, pointing out how the language was becoming more important worldwide. He said there was a growing demand from foreigners to learn English because so much knowledge and literature was being published on it. Although Wallace wrote in Latin, he saw that English was already taking over as the main language for learning and culture, a change that had started since Shakespeare's time, and his view predicted the global use of English today.
Richard Muncaster, a defender of the English language, refers that the English could express complex ideas and had international influence. Thanks to the poet Samuel Daniel, he saw the English could spread to the new lands, enriching cultures in distant, unexplored places, helping with this new dialect.
Poet and traveler Richard Flecknoe traveled to Europe, Asia, Africa, and America and discovered that Spanish and Dutch were useful languages while English was useful at times to plug holes. In 1750, the Earl of Chesterfield stated the opposite, and David Hume in 1767, for a short time, French was recognized as the language of the international diplomacy. So the success of the English language in the USA.
In 1780, John Adams argued that English is destined to be in the next and succeeding centuries more generally the language of the world, for many obvious reasons, such as the increasing population in America, the universal connection and correspondence with all nations will, the influence of England in the world, and many more, and now that has become in a reality. But many languages in the history of the world have had a similar view in a specific time. But like Jacob Grimm said in 1851, of all modern languages, no one has acquired such great strength and vigor as the English, destined to reign in the future.
The English language has had an impressive reception in countries such as Europe, Germany, Russia, and France. Its study is considered a useful and essential branch of education. In Austria, not only English is spoken, but is written and printed an incredible number of newspapers and magazines. In Asia, the desire to learn is so great that in 50 years it could replace their language. Finally, in America, millions of people already speak, write, and read it as their mother tongue.
In the 19th century, optimistic predictions were made about the expansion of English as the dominant language. It was believed that the British Empire would continue to grow. British industry would maintain its supremacy, and military language speakers could not resist. However, these predictions were wrong. The use of English as a second or third language increased significantly and minority language resisted. Despite errors in specific estimates, the general prediction of the growing importance of English turned out to be true.
After all, when a language arrives in a new country, it does not necessarily arrive to be adopted. It has to prove its worth. There are famous occasions when the language of the newcomers does not up, replacing of the inhabitants. The most famous case, in fact, concerns English itself in 1066.
English spread rapidly around the world, but it did not always replace local language. The history of England after the Norman invasion shows that factors such as the number of invaders, political relations, and the strength of the original language influence which language survives. If circumstances had been different, perhaps today we would speak French instead of English. In conclusion, the dominance of a language depends on many factors, and history shows us that the expansion of a language is not inevitable.
During the 19th century, English became globally significant through the British Empire, establishing its role in governance, commerce, and cultural outreach. Over time, it has evolved into the primary language for international relations, business, and education, promoting communication across cultures. Today, English is crucial in global organizations.
As a conclusion of this chapter, therefore some important factor in 19th century's social history which laid the cultural foundation for this eventual growth of English as a world language. We also study the various cultural manifestations of this development during the 20th century, which will explain the status of the language today.